The events of The Witcher: Blood Origin takes place before the main series, but maybe it's pointless because Geralt isn't in it, so did they really have to go through with it? The reviews aren't very good either. The Witcher is based on the books written by Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski, and the baton is being handed over to Liam Hemsworth as of season 4 from Henry Cavill. But with Henry Cavill gone, could the series survive? Let's find out. First off, why was Blood Origins even in the cards? Considering that they are aware that Sapkowski's universe still has many unresolved mysteries, the series appears to be Netflix's answer to Game of Thrones, which just made a comeback with its own prequel, The House of the Dragon. So, long before Cavill's Geralt of Rivia, the creators wanted to tell the story of the original Witcher. What's interesting is that the series is an excuse for showing an event dubbed Conjunction of the Spheres, which is only lightly referenced in the novels. The Witcher: Blood Origin structure is off-putting, despite the series' short runtime. The whole setting of the show is more or less a cliche because it's about 7 heroes who decide to murder the king. The show is like a Frankenstein-esque cross between The Fellowship of the Ring and a fan film produced by Bookworms. Blood Origin appears to be just another unoriginal fantasy series that won't go past its first season because, besides the Witcher name, that's all it has related to it. Not to mention, the show's exploration of its themes is pointless. The two main protagonists, Isla and Fijal, who are portrayed by Sophia Brown and Laurence O'Fuarain, have a romance, despite the lack of real attraction between them. Zakare and Sindral have a connection, yet we often, unfortunately, forget that they are related. Next up, is there anything good about the show? Nowadays, practically every streamer and network has a show that falls within the sci-fi fantasy category. Following the popularity of The Witcher, which starred Henry Cavill as the main protagonist, Netflix moved on to approve The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, an animated feature, and The Witcher: Blood Origin, a miniseries. The Witcher: Blood Origin is a prequel novel that takes place much earlier in the history of mankind than Nightmare of the Wolf. Blood Origin will seem completely natural to people who are already familiar with and aware of The Witcher. For those of you who don't know about The Witcher lore, the prequel series doesn't do much to familiarize you with the continent's culture, starting with the assumption that you are familiar with Jaskier and Geralt. Blood Origin's audience is restricted to its devotees because it's hard to imagine anyone watching it without watching the original series first. Although the plot is jam-packed with quests and adventures, the cast lacks Cavill's Geralt-like gruff, likable appeal. The connection between the characters, who are intended to be perceived as a team of heroes working together, takes far too long to come together and leaves nothing in the way of emotional depth, despite Sophia Brown's riveting performance as a warrior turned bard. Let's talk about the main characters. The only two heroes we truly get to know are Isla and Fijal from the show's 7 main heroes. This is sad because Isla and Fijal already have identical stories, and the other 5 members of the group are far more interesting. For instance, the show taunts the concept of chaos magic, but never digs deeper into the dynamics of the magicians. Alternatively, one has been placed as the one-dimensional main villain of the narrative, while the others act more as plot devices than as standalone characters. The story never truly delves into the pasts of warriors like Francesca Mills' Meldorf and Michelle Yeoh's Sean, which is unfair considering that they're the series' 2 highlights. Unfortunately, the series chooses to highlight the relationship between Isla and Fijal rather than the group as a whole when the gang finally gets together, which has the potential for an even better story. The 2 characters have more of an arc and behave like our heroes, yet the progression of their romance is off course. The series' short runtime is another issue altogether, but then again, if this is the kind of story they're telling, it's probably good that the series is so short. Coming up, what's the actual purpose of this story? If Blood Origin's goal is to teach us the first Witcher's narrative and explain the conjunction, it only somewhat succeeds. Although it does an okay job talking about the history behind The Witcher, the conjunction is nearly forgotten until it actually happens, and even then, it takes a backseat to the origin story. Despite having a lot of potential, Blood Origin usually slips into melodrama, complete camp, or cringe. A big cast of characters, many of whom may first fall into the stereotypes of heroes and villains, but who ultimately reveal themselves to be complex personalities who can go well beyond this, is one of the things that makes fantasy TV series like The Witcher intriguing. This is what Blood Origin tries to achieve, but it fails. The villains come out as unrefined, and because of that, the obstacles they have set in the path of the heroes seem like ordinary props. Even Lark's songs are less memorable than songs like Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, with her songs serving more as narrative filler than as enjoyable music. Now for if The Witcher can survive without Henry Cavill. Hemsworth definitely has the appearance and acting skills to play the stoic, tough Geralt of Rivia, and The Witcher casting director Sophie Holland has chosen the best possible alternative for Cavill. But after hearing the recasting news, many fans instinctively pressed the stop button, which is a clear sign that the franchise, which is named after its main character's day job, is doomed. Every live-action Superman will eventually be compared to Christopher Reeve, to use an example that fits Cavill. Similarly, Hemsworth now has the almost impossible duty of gracefully and gruffly wearing the silver wig of his famous predecessor. Just ask the James Bond series. Recasts like this have been done before. The difference is that it seems unlikely that audiences or Netflix would give The Witcher another shot if Hemsworth turns out to be a George Lazenby. But even if it were possible, could the series pull it off? Could The Witcher continue without Henry Cavill? Well, maybe, but only if the showrunners do something with Hemsworth that can make him lovable. Hear us out. Let's talk about letting Hemsworth deal with the Wild Hunt. The vast wealth of stories The Witcher has so far ignored is probably the one thing that favors Hemsworth the most. There is still a heck of a lot of plot lines that have the potential to engage fans. By virtue of its overwhelming cultural relevance, the series is virtually obligated to use The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt to its advantage in order to offset the damage of recasting. The show has already made it clear that future events include the title Wild Hunt. Voleth Mir, who turns out to be a dark elf associated with the Wild Hunt, is a key character in season 2. In the season finale, the hunt itself makes a brief but fittingly terrifying appearance. So it should only be a matter of time before Eridan Briat Glass and his team approach Ciri. But first, an important question regarding the future of the show. When will the Wild Hunt make its first move? Since Cavill will leave after the upcoming season, the best moment for the Wild Hunt's full introduction would be in the season 3 finale. Introducing the otherworldly enemies could possibly keep the show going for at least a couple more seasons. With or without Cavill, this would be an intriguing cliffhanger that would inspire viewers to return to the next season. The Wild Hunt may actually take a break for the bulk of season 3, only to reappear when Hemsworth can join in for season 4. Not to mention, Henry Cavill initially committed to The Witcher for 7 seasons, and because the Nilfgaardian plot would probably cover a good chunk of season 3's airtime, it's possible that the Wild Hunt will take a break for the majority of season 4. But if the timing is off, there's a chance that most of the viewers will leave after seeing Cavill as The Witcher for the last time in season 3. Needless to say, the ball is in Netflix's court now. But wait, there are more characters to love in The Witcher, aren't there? Let's talk about the other characters. The good news is that the majority of The Witcher's cast is outstanding and doesn't appear to be going anywhere anytime soon. In addition to the 2 surviving primary characters, Ciri and Yennefer of Vengerberg, other characters including Cahir, Triss Merigold, and Jaskier have all matured during the 2 seasons. They've proved that they can genuinely carry a scene, as have several other characters. There are also many more reasons to watch the show throughout Hemsworth's reign, even if we assume the worst and believe that he would either fail or be rejected by the audience. But what if one or more of these characters don't work out well in The Witcher? What if the fans also hate the need to recast someone like Ciri or perhaps Yennefer? What if the authors make a lame attempt to replicate the popularity of Toss a Coin to Your Witcher by suddenly pushing secondary characters front and center, only for them to irritate people to death? Many fans believe that such impulsive choices would just add to the distracting background noise of the Cavill recasting. If there are enough eras, it's just a matter of time before the noise reaches a certain level, at which point the fans will stop watching. Finally, will Netflix stick to what works or change that too? Many people may suddenly have ideas on how to change the concept or place extreme attention on particular characters when the stakes are high and the show's greatest star is about to leave. It's possible that brand new non-canon characters that really shouldn't be presented may be introduced anyways. There may be a tendency to cut corners or take unreasonable liberties with some narratives from the source material. We doubt Netflix will try to do any more damage to the series than it has already done, because if they can't stop changing what works, whether to distract viewers from the recasting casting or in an effort to genuinely support the new lead, things won't end well for the Witcher series. What do you think is going to happen? Let us know in the comments below. But that's it for today. If you liked the video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more like this. See ya!